What if I told you that a community couldn't protect its greatest natural resource? That the size of a man's heart is sometimes bigger than the size of his body? What if I told you that basketball is easy, but life is hard? What if I told you that one man's willpower isn't always enough? That the man who couldn't be stopped, tragically, was.
ESPN's critically acclaimed 30 for 30 presents Benched.
Seventh grade, Bobby Moriarty just raining threes, just tearing it up on the court. Everyone thought 8th grade, he's going to come back, he's going to lead the team, he's going to be MVP. He was pretty much the MJ of the team, LeBron, Kobe, like Black Mamba. And then everyone thought, 8th grade, he was going to come in, he's going to be MVP, he was just going to run shit. And then the unexpected happened, man.
In 7th grade, we didn't quite know what we were getting out of our basketball team. It was a rough couple of years. They played all Pitbull together. We had Bobby Morano, Pete Cummins, but Bobby Moriarty was going to really run the point, and we didn't know what we were really going to get out of him. But what transpired that year and what Bobby Moriarty gave us just transcended the game of basketball itself. It was a magical ride for the fans, the coaches, the players, the trainers, everybody enjoyed his presence in the locker room. And that is what made the team to beat that year, to be quite honest. Averaging 18 points, 12 assists. As a point guard at the 7th grade middle school level, you don't see that a lot. Watching him out there, you just had to think to yourself, I can't imagine watching him playing for 5 more years of Summit basketball. And then 8th grade came along, and I bet you ask 10 different basketball experts, they'll tell you 10 different answers on what happened that season.
Shocked the hell out of all of us when he didn't make the team in 8th grade.
He showed up out of shape, out of practice. His size became more apparent on the basketball court, and he wasn't able to make it. And, it might have shocked the world, but a lot of people disagree with me, but I think the coach really made a good decision that year.
But, typical Bobby Moriarty fashion, he just fell off the horse. You get right back on it. He was in the weight room, getting huge every day. I've never seen someone so dedicated.
I was Bobby's personal trainer for 3 years. And I gotta tell you, I've never seen someone work that hard.
Got out of the weight room, then he'd go to the gym. He was the first one in, last one out, just putting up shots.
He was the first one in, last one to leave.
Whether I've worked with college athletes, high school athletes, even semi-professional, I've never seen someone work this hard in the weight room.
A lot of people talk about the blood story, and we all know what happened. Calluses on his hand, blood everywhere.
And he would play until his hands bled. Kid you not. Calluses would fall off, he'd keep going.
Stand at the free throw line, calluses all over his hand, blood everywhere. Everywhere. Freshman year, everyone knew Bobby was going to do great, obviously. Well, what wouldn't Bobby do, He does everything for the team. He brings the ball up every time, gets the three-point line, he's calling plays. Sometimes, he doesn't even make it to half court. He's just shooting from 3 quarters away from the hoop, and he's swishing it every time. It's unbelievable.
And then freshman year came along, and, at the high school level, people really think this is when his size is going to really come into play. He got on the freshman team that year, and he was just Mr. Clutch. He came in there and would not miss a three-pointer. He made 3 for 3, 4 for 4.
I think Bobby came along on the freshman team, and he totally changed everything because of the look he had in his eyes for the game was just, it was something you hear about in books or you see in movies. The love for the game this kid had was just unreal. And, I wasn't the biggest fan, but I could just see this kid was going places with his just raw talent that he had.
I got to see him play early in that November, and it was evident. It was like, whoa, this kid is raw. You didn't think he was great. You thought he was raw. And that's back when people had a tag we like to call late bloomer.
Sophomore year rolled around, and I just said to myself, this is going to be a really crucial year for Bobby because it's going to decide where he goes with basketball for not just the rest of high school, but after that. It's going to decide if he wants to go to college with it, if he wants to go professional, and he had a lot to offer to a lot of different people.
Is it Duke? I mean, North Carolina? He could pick any school in the world. And that year, it was just amazing. You couldn't wait to see what would happen. It was a funny story. They were capping off for the freshman year. I think they went 17-3, maybe 18-2, and I was in the press box for the last game. And Bobby Moriarty hit the buzzer beater to win the game. You ask him, he'll tell you the same thing. And I was talking to my friend who wrote for the Star-Ledger, and he said, players like this, a lot of things get to their head. And I kind of thought, not Bobby. I think he's a little bit better than that. But then everything changed. It was spring of freshman year going into fall of sophomore year. It's a Bobby Moriarty that I think a lot of us never met and never want to meet again.
He hit the sophomore slump, Just kid was getting with way too many chicks, partying way too hard on the weekends. He was letting his social life get in the way of his athletics, and
it just got to him really quick. He started going out, started partying, drinking all the time. I think that he just really wanted to be that star.
The parties, the alcohol, it was all too much for him. And
we all tried telling him, we said, Bobby, stop. You're like turning into Aaron Hernandez. Like, we thought he was going to kill people. And fortunately, he didn't. But, his sophomore year was just not Bobby. We all sat Bobby down after his sophomore year. We said, Bobby, get your shit together. You're blowing this. We almost had to send him to Passengers Malibu. So, Bobby did. He got back in the weight room. He got great again.
The kid puts on 20 pounds of muscle in between his junior and senior season. That's unheard of.
He put on 20 pounds of solid muscle his senior year. I've never seen calves that big. Not a single lacrosse player I've ever seen had calves that big.
He hit the gym his junior year. He really was getting after it. Everyone knows about how much muscle he got, but I think everyone starts to ignore the other things he did, the ball handling, the jump shot, and I think that added a whole new dimension to his game that nobody saw. And he really came out there, averaged 19 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds, was able to get a little bit of hops, so he was able to drag down some boards. And then we were all expecting big things for his senior year.
Senior year came around, ton of hype about Bobby Moriarty. All across the nation, coaches, scouts, Rick Pitino, Mark D'Antoni. We hear everyone's coming to the games. The student section can't stop talking about what Bobby's going to do this year.
I've got great respect for him as a young person. We were very close back then. We had a close relationship. Then we drifted apart.
Why, Rick? What happened?
Just like we all do. We all go our separate ways.
Leading scorer in Summit history? Who knows? Leading assist man in Summit history? He already had that record, What's next for Bobby?
Then senior year, nothing. I don't know if it was a conflict with the officials, his attitude, maybe it was a chemistry thing, but he just didn't get any playing time.
Which is the worst part, because he could have been the best thing Summit High School basketball has ever seen, but I think fame hit him a little early and a little too hard.
Coach White went out in that scandal. New coach comes in. We all thought, we still got Bobby. We got the Rock that can still take us back to states. But he saw no playing time his senior year. He sat him on the bench the whole time. Gave him a few minutes at the end of the games, but wasn't enough.
You think about, as a reporter, that what could have been, and you don't know if you're ever going to see a player with that much heart and that much love of the game where just some things just happen to go wrong with him. And maybe we'll see another, maybe we won't, but it was a hell of a ride the whole time.
Stop marching 'cause you think you shot to number one. Counting days and skipping your stones into the sun. Overrated, none the fun, but those that way you turn. I'll be yours tonight.